So today's the day that I finally get to play Final Fantasy VII Remake. For those of you that's been watching my channel, you know I'm a huge Final Fantasy VII nerd. Pretty much Final Fantasy in general. It's actually the reason that I'm a gamer today, and probably the reason that this channel exists, because without Final Fantasy, I don't know if I would even be in games. But anyway, they finally dropped the demo. I got to really seek my claws into it. I played the entire demo, and I figured I'll go ahead and give my impressions, you know, exactly how I felt about certain things. There were a couple things that were a little off, but, you know, we'll definitely get that into the video. But, you know, before we get into the video, definitely hit that like button if you guys enjoyed the video. Definitely subscribe for future content. But without further ado, here's my impressions on the Final Fantasy VII Remake demo. So let's talk a little bit what the game looks like and what Midgar in particular looks like. I'll try to put a lot of, you know, overall concepts of what this game looks like in the gameplay, but for the most part, this game looks phenomenal. You know, the train scene with Cloud come in, that looks amazing. The, you know, the rotating around the map of Midgar and the title screen looks amazing. The character models, Barrett looks clean, Cloud looks clean, Jessa looks clean, Wedge looks clean. Everyone in this game is phenomenal, and I really appreciate Square, because you could tell, because they're making this game in parts and they're not making it all together, they can take a little bit more time in the fine details to individual parts, as they're only doing it in parts, and I really appreciated that. Obviously, the Final Fantasy vets in here, you know, you have definitely known that they have went towards more of like that Final Fantasy 15 approach with the gameplay. Now, I will say that they try to meet us at a middle ground, you guys. They gave us something called tactical mode. And what tactical mode does is it pretty much slows time down. And it gives you a lot, you know, a little bit more of that classic turn-based RPG. But, you know, it's not exactly there because obviously, you know, they still are moving to a point, but they're slowed down drastically. So you could do a lot of, you know, planning what you want to do. If you could throw potions, you could switch between characters. And I really enjoyed that. You know, for the longest time, Square Enix hasn't really been trying to meet us at a middle ground. You know, the classic Final Fantasy fans, they've been just pushing the brand and pushing the franchise far ahead without really taking into consideration that, you know, me in particular, you know, being playing Final Fantasy since, you know, 7, since 6, since 5, I really hated that they didn't even try to meet us at a middle ground. But this tactical mode does a really good job. Now, you know, 12 had a similar thing, but it wasn't this advanced, because, you know, the game looks really good even when it's slowed down. And you could choose between people. You can the right analog and the left analog. If you press those down, you switch between people. Now, there was only a couple monsters in here to really fight against it. Now, they did keep the stagger mode that's in Final Fantasy 13. I really did not like 13. A lot of you already know this, but I felt like this is a good implementation to Final Fantasy 7, that it doesn't really as bad as it was in 13, because I felt like a lot of enemies in 13, unless you staggered them, you were not killing them. But it looks like they got a good middle ground when it comes to the stagger bar in this game. Now, in terms of combat, there's actually, you know how Barrett has the gun, Cloud has the sword. They actually take advantage of that in this game. There's certain enemies that Cloud just can't hit, that they give you the ability to use Barrett to his full potential, that he can only hit these enemies. It kind of reminds me of Waka from Final Fantasy X, where only, you know, long range characters can hit long range weapons and long range enemies. It used to be, you know, in these other games that for the most part, all the turn-based games, it didn't really matter what you used because everyone could reach anyone. But in this game, if it's a long-range character and Cloud cannot jump up and reach him, you will have to use a long-range character. So, for instance, like there's these robots that's on top of these, you know, constructions, and you have to use Barrett to get to them. Now, there are some opportunities where Cloud can reach these people by jumping, but he can't jump really high. So I do enjoy that they're taking advantage of the fact that Barrett does have a gun and Cloud has a sword. One of the coolest things that I really got into this is it gives a different variety of combat styles. For instance, Cloud has a combat style where he really gets defensive, and when he gets close to you, he can do massive damage to you. And this is a really good ability. When I was fighting the robot at the end of the demo, I always forget what that thing's name is. The one with the giant tail, the tail beam. I really enjoyed because you could switch back and forth when he's vulnerable, and you could do massive damage with this attack. For instance, when there's a bunch of people around, you could use this attack to get close to them and just unload on all of them. And I really enjoyed that they're giving more in-depth combat styles for each character. Now, I'm pretty sure it's for each character, but I really only used it for Cloud himself. Obviously, there are returning things. You know, you have your classic limit breaks. The limit breaks that look clean. I only was able to use one, unfortunately, the one for Cloud. Barrett never really got his. He was close to getting it, but I didn't. I beat the demo before I got the actual limit break. So it's nice to know that, you know, these look really nice. They put a lot of time into these. You know, it's just like the other one. When the gauge fills up, you can use it. And I really love seeing the visual effects to these limit breaks. Now, in terms of story, obviously this is a remake of the original, so it's going to be heavily inspired by the original. Now, going into this demo, I was kind of trying to keep my ear to that, you know, really pay attention to exactly how close they stick to the story. Now, there are only a very few slight changes that I see that they made. For instance, Barrett for some reason has materia. I have no clue how that happened. He's got Kier and Thunder. In the original one, he didn't have materia. You actually didn't know how to even use materia. He told you in the game to keep up with it because he didn't know what to do with it. And I felt like that was weird. Maybe that's just in the demo to give more of you know, tools to the people playing this, since it's a free demo. But I can't say I was hugely, you know, going to go at this because he had materia, but I felt like it did kind of break the immersion of the original that he had materia, if that makes sense. In terms of the other characters, you know, Jesse, Briggs, Wedge, I definitely butchered some of their names. I can't remember all their names because they're not there that long. I really enjoyed how they branched out and made them their own individual character. Jessie in particular, she was in here a lot. She got a big thing for Cloud. Now, I don't remember if she had a big thing for Cloud in Final Fantasy VII because her character never really acted like she did. There was a time where she asked you the relationship between you and Tifa. To my knowledge, I don't even think they brought Tifa's name up until you saw her in the bar. I could be wrong about that. But I really enjoyed that they're building these characters. You interact with these characters, and it feels a lot more immersive because of how the great detail they do in these cutscenes. Now, there are a little bit of things that I kind of like nitpicked a little bit. Now, obviously, I did talk about the Barrett had materia. Now, I want to clarify, this is not like a deal breaker to me. I do not want people thinking that. This is one of those things where I'm like, it doesn't bother me, but I prefer him not to have materia to be more original to the first one. But I'm not going to really give them too much over that. I can't use basic attack in the navigation mode or, you know, the tactical mode. I know that that's something small, but I feel like you should be able to use attack to give more of an original sensation to the vet players that want to play pretty much entirely in tactical mode. Now, it's not a big deal because for the most part, if I wanted to use attack, it was easier to just go up, press square, and then go into tactical mode if you choose to. Now, I kind of play between both of them, and I feel like Square Enix actually intends you to play between tactical mode and real-time mode, so I don't think this is something that they were really thinking about in the long term. So, you know, that's pretty much exactly how I feel about this beta. I love it. It was amazing. There were obviously certain things that, you know, like I said, that they could have changed, but those are nitpicks. Those have no influence whatsoever me buying the game. The music is on point. The graphics are on point. The mechanical boss fights are on point. There's stages to boss fights in 7. They didn't just make a remake, you guys. This is a masterpiece from just the demo. Obviously, they can ruin the entire game, and they literally just handed us the best parts of the game, but I doubt it. I have every bit of faith in this company that they're going to make a Final Fantasy VII remake that everyone's going to remember for a long time. Who knows? If this game does really well, they might start remaking 6. I know a lot of people would enjoy that. 6 needs to be remade. I would appreciate 8 to be remade too. But right now we have 7, and I feel like 7 is worth the 60. 7 is worth the investment. If you don't like this game, then maybe you shouldn't try it. But to be honest with you guys, it's a demo. Go download it. It's free. Go try this demo. I think you would enjoy every bit of it, especially if you like Final Fantasy 15. If you like 13 and you don't like 7 Remake demo, I don't know what to tell you because 13 was trash. But anyway, tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Did you enjoy Final Fantasy 7 demo? If you played it, if you haven't, definitely go to the PlayStation Store, download that, try it, then come back to this YouTube video and then put it in the comment section how you feel. I personally love it. It's definitely sold me on the game itself. Now, I pretty much sold from the start, but it definitely gave me a lot more faith in this company that they're going to do this justice. But, you know, anyway, it's like I said, put in the description and the comment section what you guys feel about the demo. This is Gaming Addict. I'm out of here. Peace.